The final nail in the coffin of man-made global warming has come out. There was a hacker who went into the email chain of the people pushing this big lie and found them lying for years about the global warming data, making it up, covering it up, throwing people off scientific committees who questioned them. They were marginalizing anybody who dared challenge them. They were practicing a form of scientific fascism. It's been all found out. Now, you say, well, everyone knows this who's intelligent now, and it is true. Even the hemorrhoid's been on this, even though he only went to grade school. Even the hemorrhoid can follow the lie. That's okay. But I want to remind you that on the Savage Nation over 2 years ago, I had a scientist on called Harm de Blige, hardly can pronounce it, and he argued against man-made global warming in the most beautiful manner, right on this show about 2 years ago. He's the author of a great book called Why Geography Matters. I was so captivated by his stories. But I want to make another point. This show is usually at least a year, if not more, ahead of its time. If it was 20 years ahead of its time, I wouldn't even be in business. It's good to be slightly ahead of your time, like Panasonic used to say. But if you're too far ahead of your time, you wind up either in a bug house or in a jail. You understand that? So I try to stay just slightly ahead of my times, not too far ahead. A year and a half is about as much as you can take. I told you the evidence was against global warming, that we're going into a global cooling phase. Did I find the data? No, but I know enough about science to read the data. And my conclusion was it's all a fraud, being promoted by Al Gorleone, who I said, not so jokingly, was the head of the biggest crime family on earth, the Gorleone crime family. Do you understand that there are billions of dollars that have been made in this and are going to be made in this? Trillions of dollars if you let the biggest charade artist get away with it, which is Obama. If he pushes this global warming crap in Copenhagen next month, he is signing your death warrant, the death warrant of America. You understand? So that's why I say you got to understand that the papers are dying because they're not giving you the information that you need to even make an informed decision. I am giving you the information you need to make an informed decision. Remember, this show starts late in the day on the East Coast, early in the evening, really, and late in the day on the West Coast. So people have heard stuff all day long on other radio shows. I'm not going to get up here and read you the headlines from the Drudge Report. You've heard it all before in the morning. The golfer does that. That's all. He comes in and his show is based on 3 websites, and that's the end of it. All right, does a good job. You know, I saw the movie over the weekend with the Preacher. I understand the whole. Who did with Burt Lancaster with the Preacher with the fake and they burned down? Elmer Gantry. I mean, I've seen Elmer Gantry. I realize most people in conservative radio are Elmer Gantry. I realize that they bang the Bible of conservatism, and boy, do they make the noise about God and country and patriotism, and they tell you to send your son to die while they fly high overhead in a Gulf Stream. I understand why you have cynicism about many of these Gulf Stream conservatives. I understand it. Incidentally, I coined the phrase Gulf Stream liberal way back. So the reason I survive is because I'm slightly ahead of my time. And I'm telling you, I gave you the information that you needed. June of what year? Is that 06? June of 06, I played this. Now, you're just hearing it now from the hemorrhoid like he discovered it himself somewhere. The man who never went, and he has a blackboard and a professor. You should get a cap, too, to go with it. Why is it the guys who have no education always want to be a teacher? I don't understand it. Why does he act with a blackboard? I don't understand. All right, as an audience, he got lucky. It won't last forever. This, too, shall pass. The same way global warming was accepted by the radical left and the liberals who took it as gospel, it's the same thing with guys like the hemorrhoid. He's accepted for a while as sort of a prophet until you come to realize that it's Elmer Gantry. So anyway, it's time. Oh, you mark my word, mark it down. The way I told you in June of 06, global warming is going to be uncovered for the fraud it is. I'm telling you right now, the phonies in the conservative movement will be uncovered for the phonies they are. You'll see. Mark my words. It'll be Elmer Gantry all over again. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. June of 06. I have a guy on who's a genius, but the man could tell a story as good as any storyteller, better than Mark Twain, but it's all based upon science. And when he got on this show and he talked, actually it was sound bites we got, and he talked about the little ice age in the 1300s, which I had not known about because I'm not a climate scientist. I was captivated to understand that the ice age that came down in the 1300s was so severe that priests in northern Europe walked to the glacier as it was coming down upon their farmlands and asked God to stop the glacier. You hear this? And what does it have to do with you? They have everything upside down. Although carbon dioxide levels have gone up slightly over the decades, the Earth's temperatures have not gone up in the same proportion. In fact, they've gone down. We've come through one of the greatest cooling phases in decades. So yes, there's increased carbon dioxide, but it has nothing to do with increased global warming. Number one, because there's global cooling going on. Number two, how could you buy such a theory to begin with? That if you have even a fifth grade education, let's say you went only to grade school and you could only work for Fox News. So you went to grade school, even there you learned that carbon dioxide is necessary for plants to grow. Even a reporter on Fox News should have learned that in the fifth grade. Even a genius who copies books from Thomas Paine and calls them his own, even a genius like him, should understand that CO2 is actually good because it produces more plant life, meaning more food for you. How could you buy the fact that more carbon dioxide was actually bad for the growth of plants and food? How could you buy into this? Answer, because many of you are vegans and vegetarians. Many of you have grown up without sufficient nutrients to even think properly. Many of you are so starved for the basic food chemicals from a reasonable diet that you are incapable of a rational decision or thought. You understand what I'm saying to you? Many of you have nice daughters in particular. It affects the girls more than the boys. Now there's a thing going around the girls. They have a new thing. If it has a face, I don't eat it. How cute that is. I don't eat anything with a face. So they're walking around emaciated, looking like a ghost. Their brains are not functioning, I wouldn't even say not optimally. The girl can't even think. She's missing the critical enzymes for thinking, let alone for living. The girl has a deficiency in B12. The girl has a deficiency in iron. The girl has a deficiency in all the other B vitamins. The girl has a deficiency in various amino acids which are necessary for proper thought and proper survival, but she's an expert on, you name it, global warming, social justice, minorities and how they're treated, illegal immigrants, you name it, she has the answer because all this poor child, this wispy young daughter of yours who you catered to all of these years has learned is a lie. She knows nothing. The final nail in the coffin of global warming, you got to read the article, the articles that are coming out. You won't believe this. You won't see it in the morning paper. It's a giant conspiracy. I want to play for you now the piece, the short version, Beowulf, of this incredible piece that I played in June of 06 before the man on Fox even understood what the word global meant. Play it.
The debate in the scientific community is completely over now. There is no more debate about the fact that it's real, we're causing it, the consequences are bad, headed toward catastrophic, we need to fix it, and it's not too late.
We're in an ice age. It's been going on for tens of millions of years. Ice ages consist of surges of cold temperature that last a long time, but not surges that keep the planet cold all the time. There are times of moderation in between. And then these peaks, when it suddenly gets almost Cretaceous in its warmth, and for hundreds of thousands of years.
Almost gets Cretaceous in its warmth for hundreds of thousands of years. What a brilliant sentence. Cretaceous in its warmth. I may have an aversion to hot places because the Cretaceous was a dangerous place. I may have some distant ancestral memory of time in the Cretaceous. I think the dinosaurs were around then, weren't they? The proto-liberal was around, the dinosaurs, the pterodactyl. But, you know, you listen to a guy like Gore, he's always been known to a man that was imbalanced. And said he invented the Internet. I mean, he's an imbalanced man. He looks at, sounds it, and he's a faker. It's Al Gore's theory that he's promoting, and he says the science is over, there's no longer a debate. He's a liar. There is a debate. How can he make such a definitive statement, there is no debate, and we caused it, when there are many scientists who don't agree with that? It's unbelievable to me. So I think I've put to rest at least one thing. Be open-minded. At least say to yourself, you know what, at least I learned from Savage there is debate. And I'll be open-minded about it. You know, keep your mind a little open. Don't become a closed-minded jerk and think that what you're reading about in the newspapers or whatnot, you hear from Al Gore, is true. Be open-minded. You heard the professor, and we're going through a phase now, and we're treating it. Oh, listen to clip 30. Here's the most frightening one. Here it comes.
On the basis of the statistics, we're due for a precipitous retreat into a cold climate, in the cold world, which will be far more challenging to deal with than a warm world. And we should be prepared for that's one of the reasons I use climate change. It's one of the great challenges. It would level geopolitical battlefields in ways we have never encountered before, and we are probably on the verge of it.
Did you hear what he just said? It will level the geopolitical playing field, and we're on the verge of it. And we're going into a colder phase, which will be far harder to deal with than warming. That's amazing. So get out your mucklucks. Don't throw away your underwear, and get ready for the ice age. Maybe we can learn something from the Inuits. Well, I really love doing this
Throw it back to
piece.
me.
I really love it. I'll tell you, this is what I